see what we got here. All right. Oh, Lumbra. Oh my gosh. You're here already? Welcome in. Welcome in. Set that down somewhere. All right. So we're getting started here. Welcome in, everybody. Just now booting up the stream. And, well, this is Meowkbang C. So we have a lot of lovely selections here, beginning with the letter C, essentially. Sometimes the letter is in the shape of C and it belongs to a whole different language, but I believe that that's actually a huge part of the fun. So let's see here. Meowkers? Meowkers. That sounds very questionable. Yes, though, I am a Meowkbanger. So, where to begin? I'd like to just list off everything we have. We can rehash it later with people, but in terms of stuff that I've got on the table right now, which is the vast majority of it, I've got Cougar Gold, which is a really unique type of cheese, essentially created to last forever in a home food storage. If you have a refrigerator, which I understand not everyone everywhere in the world can have, but if you have one, you can actually potentially have this cheese last upwards of 50 years, according to the makers. So that's really impressive. We here have some congee, or rice porridge as it is sometimes called. Congee is actually requested special here by a good friend Wolfie. So thank you so much for asking for that forever ago. We've got some cilantro and lovely little century eggs here to go with our congee. So for anyone who isn't terribly familiar, century eggs are a type of preserved egg. This is one made with duck eggs. The chicken ones were just impossible to find. And I've heard a lot that duck is actually just so much better in terms of century eggs. So I'm really excited. So we have a century egg, Cuttlefish balls. So in terms of that, these are a type of meatball, but they are straight up sold as Cuttlefish balls, like literally and actually. I sampled one earlier and found that the balance of flavor was really delightful, so I want to make sure you at least have a second to see where to get it. It is a Dragonfly brand. Lettering is written in both Chinese and Japanese, and it is an East Asian, essentially a seafood product as well as other things. Purveyor supply company. All right. I've got here something that I can kind of pronounce, which would be like Couque das, or Couque das. So this is really interesting. I picked this cookie up on a whim because it is a coffee cookie, and coffee and cookie are both completely welcome at this Meowkbang. But interestingly enough, this is a Korean product using a sort of maybe ever so slightly misappropriated Belgian title. I guess it is a type of provincial Belgian pastry in one context, but technically some of that is lost in translation, and now if you look for this Couque das, you just find this pastry basically overwhelmingly out what do you say, overshadows anything more authentic that has such a name, in terms of your search result. And let's see what else we got here. So this is really difficult for me to pronounce. It is in Vietnamese, and I looked into this, and I guess the Viet pronunciation is like Nhang. I mean, literally, I'll give you one more. Nhang. I could be doing that very wrong, and I could have gotten bad info, but it does kind of make sense because I've had some friends from the Vietnamese culture tell me, either jokingly or half serious, that half the letters in Vietnamese don't do as much as you'd think that they're supposed to do. Perhaps not necessarily being silent, but being pretty quiet. Um, so this is fun. This is just fun. I would have sworn that I knew how to pronounce this type of port wine, but it's apparently pronounced Cockburns. Oh, thank you. The cat ears? Yes, they were, they were being worked on. It was surgery for my cat ears on Meowkbang B. I had to send them in, and they had to get looked at by a cat ears doctor. So that's why there were no cat ears on that particular Meowkbang. Definitely the reason why. And I've got here club crackers. I know this is incredibly underwhelming, but I have never had club crackers in my life. I've walked past them at the grocery store probably 1,000 to 2,000 times. I've seen them, and I never once thought to actually have a club cracker, but we're gonna go ahead and have some today, so I'm kind of excited to at least give that a try, because it'll go perfect with our Cougar Gold here. Club crackers are great? Oh my gosh, that's awesome. By the way, thank you so much for dropping in, everybody. Lumbra, Gabby, Kudus, I'm so glad that you were able to make it. And without further ado, my last entry for this Meowkbang C. This is a homemade thing, and this is very personal to me, very special personal history item. It is a cranberry curd pie. So, a quick little bit here. In American or US Thanksgiving, we very frequently have cranberry sauce, and as a kid, I thought it was the worst part of Thanksgiving because I didn't feel that it paired right with any of our Thanksgiving food's flavors. That's really controversial, but I since came to like it more. But as a kid one year, they made me try to do the cranberry sauce, and everyone loved my Food Network recipe plagiarism, basically. And so they made me do cranberry sauce every year, and I was very bitter about it because I was like, ugh, I hate this. Why are you making me make it? But, okay, that's another story entirely. When they told me they were going to have me make that one year, I said, okay, but I have to get to make something of my own for cranberries. I want to try this. And it was a cranberry curd meringue pie. I have since come to not feel that the meringue is necessary, but I've been making that every few years for a long time now, and I've just recently seen it go viral. So I'm going to lean over and kind of grab this so you can see. It's a cranberry curd, akin to lemon curd, pie, basically made by making a custard with cranberries as well as eggs and butter and a few other lovely ingredients with a peppermint leaf from my garden. All right. Man, what do we dig into first, huh? I think the congee kind of earned it, being the homemade item that I put the most effort into. I hope Wolfie is here, but if not, we'll at least get a chance to tell them about it really soon. So, congee is a rice porridge. This one is made in a very simple style, but I did include something a little bit more personally chosen, which are these meatballs, if you guys can see that. So, the meatballs are a type of inclusion that you see in certain congee. Sometimes it's just minced pork. That's really, really common too. But sometimes it is that little step further and you make it into a very simple meatball. It doesn't have to be the craziest thing in the world, especially if the congee is for people who are trying to recover from being sick, which is a really common thing. Okay. Wow. I made the meatballs a lot spicier than I intended to. They are a bit picante. There's a lot of Korean red chili in them because I wanted that vibrant, almost like Halloween devil type red color. It just felt like the right thing to do with how simple and pale the color of congee is. All in all, pretty nice. The meatballs were made by mixing ground pork with essentially a lot of Korean red chili, a little bit of black pepper, and a little bit of stock powder. Stock powder, I'll get into that in a sec, but that's amazing stuff to have in your pantry. the scallions on top. That's a nice little touch. So I don't think I even pointed this out by name, but we do indeed have a little bit of cilantro. So to me, cilantro is delicious, and I do respect that it's a divisive ingredient, but for me, it is quite tasty, and I do not suffer from like any kind of genetic predisposition to think that it's yuckers. I think it's yummers. A very tasty herb. Okay. Yeah. Unsurprisingly, cilantro goes well. Now for something a little bit more novel, a little bit less immediately understood. We have here a century egg. So a century egg is a type of egg known to various cultures, and it is produced by putting an egg in a set of conditions for up to 100 days is what I often hear. And I wanted to see if putting it through the egg slicer was a good idea. And the answer is that it was a horrible idea, and I should feel bad for thinking it was a good one. No, let's go ahead and get that into the congee. So various recipes ask you to take the century egg and actually cook it into the congee, whereas others tell you to just throw it in at the very end. Oh yeah, Cougars, I was able to get a century egg. They have a whole sort of supply of them at an international market that I frequent pretty often. It's where I find a lot of the goodies for this this lovely little show we do here. It's an international market that started off as just a Korean and Russian market, and has since blossomed to be this huge international market that grew like to 6 times its original size, and it's right here in like my greater city area. I'm very proud of them. Just to see it grow so much over all the years. Okay, so everyone says century eggs, put them right in the congee, enjoy them like that. And oh, okay. Okay, it took a sec. I was starting to worry that like I overpowered it with everything else in the congee. Let me get one more bite, tell you what I think about century eggs. Okay, a shockingly mild flavor. Shockingly mild, savory for sure. And I was starting to think that I was losing it because this congee is made with dashi. Dashi being a very savory Japanese broth, right? Dashi contains a lot of natural MSG, natural fragrances. I think a chemical called like sodium diinosinate, or don't quote me, but therefore dashi and foods made with dashi have an extremely savory flavor, and I was starting to worry that this century egg was not tasting like anything, but I think that it has comparably savory flavors. Let me see. I lost a little bit of the yolk in my egg slicer by doing some very questionable thing and slicing the century egg on an egg slicer when I have a knife right here. It's hard to describe, really, this fragrance that I'm getting off of it. There is this subtle fragrance, and it's not pungent. It's not pungent. I'm going to try one straight up, chat. I think I'm going to try a straight up pieces of century egg and try to tell you some real feedback on what the heck it actually tastes like, because I can't just keep sitting here and telling you, I don't know, I don't know. It definitely has an egg flavor, though, especially in the yolk. Try this little piece of plain century egg, mostly yolk. It's a flavor that flirts with being like a savory seafood flavor. It flirts with being savory seafood, but it's not there. It's not. Speaking of which, I have here these cuttlefish balls. This is actually really cool for me. Growing up as a kid, I was paralyzed of any type of seafood, period. It took me until I was like a teenager to start trying seafood. And finally, once I did start liking seafood, excuse me, I had rough experiences with stuff like Naruto, like the fish cake, such that if it was a fish sausage, fish ball, fish anything, I avoided it like the plague. This cuttlefish ball, at base, has this seafoody flavor, right? Not one I would call fishy, because when you think fishy, you're thinking of something in particular, and I think it's a kind of negative connotation. But it has this fragrant and delightful, rich, almost buttery seafood flavor. And once I recognized that, I decided to play on it and accent it by cooking them in this soy and mirin butter glaze. And it is exactly what it sounds like. Soy sauce, mirin, the sweetened cooking wine, and butter all cooked together to reduce, as well as some raw garlic that I grated fresh into it. Just use a little microplane and grate it in there. Kudos, if you're still here, I just wanted you to know that century eggs are pretty lit, bro. Pretty yummy. And I would recommend trying one if you have any kind of Asian markets near you, but they are not sold as century egg. They're usually sold as preserved duck egg, preserved chicken egg, etc. I would recommend it. Heck yeah. Okay, I promised my girlfriend that I would save her some of the cuttlefish, and I'm glad that she's interested because she's in for a treat. Um, because I want to get this into the cold case pretty quick, let's try the semi-famous Cougar Gold. So, oh, that way. Cougar Gold is, as I said, a cheese whose whole gimmick is the idea that it is created well, it is put in good enough packaging, such that you can just keep it forever in the refrigerator and it will age in this specially engineered can from Washington State University. All right. Breaking into Cougar Gold with my can opener. I do not know what to anticipate, by the way. I have not watched people eating Cougar Gold, and as such, I am kind of stepping in blind, and I think that that's actually really fun. When it comes to food, if it's safe and semi-advisable, for you to step in blind, I think you should. I think you should step in blind and try to have fun, and don't set expectations super high or super low. Just try to go in blind and perceive, right? That's a tough thing to do though, mentally. Especially if you know you're a picky eater, you're prone to getting grossed out by food. You gotta probably hesitate more then. You don't want to have like a very upsetting accident. Whoa. That's cool. Don't know what I expected, guys. I really don't know what I expected. Okay, I do. I was expecting there to be a bar of cheese just sitting in the middle of this. In hindsight, that is a very funny thing to expect. But what can I say? So this cheese was finished just in 2024. It says that it was packed by somebody named Ruth. So shouts out to you, Ruth. Yeah, shouts out to you. Oh no. Okay. It's not looking terribly easy to get the whole block of Cougar Gold out of the can. And that's a little frightening, because I was actually told that if you leave it in the can, a harmless but very ugly amount of tarnish from the can discolor the cheese. So, very chaotic first time trying Cougar Gold, but it's okay. This is a really special cheese. By the way, I wanted to give a quick shout out. I totally forgot earlier. Everyone who's in my Discord for Meowkbangs, who in fact voted on what cheese, starting with C, we should feature, you're awesome. I love you, and thank you for pushing me to try this cheese I've been curious about for a couple years. So, without further ado, Cougar Gold on club crackers. Cheers. Okay. Oh yeah, that's exciting. So, Cougar Gold, very alarmingly sweet and mild flavor for it being a sharp white cheese. I know for a fact that these are not sweet crackers. Okay. Yeah, the club cracker does not have a pronouncedly sweet flavor to it. I may just be in need of a palate cleanser, because my first bite of Cougar Gold, what I tasted, was pronouncedly sweet. It was cheesy and delicious, very savory, very cheddary, but it was also quite sweet. So this here is pronounced Cockburns. Can you see that, chat? It is pronounced Cockburns. And I was very disappointed that I learned this after I brought it home. But we can dream, we can believe, and we can hold our own headcanon. So, port and cheddar, really famous pairing, sometimes symbolic of decadence and indulgence, but I find it to be enjoyable, because I'm not a very big wine person. It's a good port. Sandman and Cockburns, they are some very pleasant port wines to enjoy, to savor and take in. Chatters, are any of you big fans of wine? I know some people culturally grow up with a lot of exposure, like a gentle exposure to wine, so that by the time they're young adults, they have more sophistication toward it, more appreciation for the trade and the craft of vinitery, or whatever you want to call it. like a little rat of my little paws. Okay. I will say, my parents were very into wine when I was growing up. I was growing up and they would be wine tasting semi-often and talking about wines and having a fairly cynical and intense opinion of certain ones. But I was not raised to really understand it. And I also naturally resisted. I just found the taste to be really icky. As I grew older and came to find that some alcoholic drinks did not taste yucky, I would revisit wine occasionally and found that some wines were likewise not too icky. And the ironic thing is that I've heard people like Jacksepticeye was recently interviewed, and he said that drinking white wine is like drinking like candy fruit juice, but red wines take a bit more sophistication to appreciate. He didn't comment on port, of course, because it's a very specific kind, and some would argue don't even call that wine and stuff like that. But I found that to be interesting, and it makes me want to go and try some white wines just to see if I could even agree, partly. Okay, I said cheers for the cheese and crackers, but cheers for this. This is a really lovely port, actually, despite the goofy-ass name. I'm sorry, it's pronounced Cockburn. It's Portuguese. Okay. That is a heck of a palate cleanser, I gotta say. You can't have cheese and like little buttery cracker on your tongue and then let something like a fortified red wine wash over it and still be tasting like cheese and richness and everything. Chat, if anyone cares, what should I try next? Some of my assorted snack foods or like a century egg plain? Because I'm going to try both. I'm running it through my head. I don't know which one I want to go for first. So if anyone has a suggestion. Just going to finish this little glass of port here. Port was the first wine I ever genuinely liked, by the way. It's considered a fortified wine, and fortified wine means that it is wine, but it has aguardiente. In the case of port, it's usually aguardiente added to it, which I believe means like toothy water or fire water or something like that. And that's the fortify. It would help it last longer, endure like maybe a more rigorous aging process, and I just find it tastier. Okay. No suggestions yet, and I don't mind. Don't mind one bit. Let's go ahead and try this Nyangyo, if I am pronouncing that right at all. Begins with the CH, but then the sound is like a straight up, like a soft, palatal type of N. Alright. I biffed it. Cool. I keep messing it up, chat. I don't know if we're ever gonna get this open. Okay, we got it. Let's get these out on the board. I want to get a good look at them. Oh, that's adorable. Okay. They are supposed to be, made after the actual dish by the same name, which is like a type of spring roll comparable to lumpia. If you're from the West Coast, you might be more familiar with lumpia. Okay. And the flavor is a green bird's eye chili mixed with shrimp. And that is what it says on the bag, but I concur. The flavor is definitely there. Not bad. Though I will say, like a drink would be good to go with this because it's very dry and a smidge salty and spicy. Here you go. This is called Kozel Černý. Really, it's just called Černý if you're talking about just this one. The whole reason I included it. Černý refers to the black coloration or the very dark coloration of the beer. Whereas Kozel is like akin to the name of the brewery, and it refers to a male goat, like a he goat, or Billy, or what? I mean, Billy goat. Billy goat is pretty common for a male goat, right? Pour one of these off. This is a really good beer. Most of the stuff I feature, I want it to be stuff that not only have you never heard of or barely heard of, but I want it to also be stuff that I've never tried. This is going to be one of the things where you may have heard of it, but I think way more important in terms of it contrasting everything is I have tried it. I've tried it a few times, actually, and I find it very enjoyable. The only reason I learned about it is because a spoof of it is featured in one of my favorite games called No, I'm Not a Human. In No, I'm Not a Human, the beer is called Černý. Oh my god, Saucy! Oh, hey everyone. This is a new friend of mine, Saucy. Thank you so much for coming. She's a really cool streamer, like a variety streamer, and is into a lot of witchy stuff. Welcome in, Saucy. Right now, I was trying this little snack. The foodies are really cool so far. There's still a small handful of things I haven't even tried, but everything here starts with the C, and that's the whole premise. We have congee with century eggs and cilantro garnish, cuttlefish meatballs, you know, etc. And yeah, it's going really nice. So far, I haven't had anything that I haven't been fond of. And the only concern I have is that when I tried the century egg in my congee, it was in such a good type of dish, or a good assortment of flavors, that I almost feared it got drowned out. The century egg so far is not offensive at all. Snaps! Oh my god, Snaps! Hey, welcome in! Oh my gosh, all the friends pouring in. Very purple friends. Very purple indeed. I'm so happy for all the purple. I love it. How are you guys doing today? Better keep that there so you know what I'm drinking. Černý by Kozel. Heck yeah. Well, welcome in. It's a lot of munching on stuff, a lot of chatting, a lot of talking about the stuff that we're munching on, talking about food and cooking. Yo, Snaps, thank you so much. Well, I'm glad to be part of breaking up the flow of your errands. And I'm super excited. There's only a couple more like solid foods left to try out of the whole lineup that I haven't at least dabbled with yet. We have my homemade cranberry curd pie, which I haven't tried because I revised the recipe, so it is new to me. And then this cool thing here this coffee cookie. So we're definitely going to get into that. I'm going to put this somewhere safer. Oh my goodness. Yeah, cranberry curd pie is a really special thing for me because as a kiddo, I was not into cranberry sauce at all. So I bargained with my family once they started forcing me to make the cranberry sauce because I plagiarized Food Network's recipe and they loved it so much. They were like, yeah, make it for us every year. So I was just like, oh my god, I want to at least like a cranberry thing I'm making. So I made a cranberry curd meringue pie, and the rest is history. That became like a household favorite. I just wasn't feeling like making meringue this time. I think it'll be just as good. It's also really easy. Please make it if you're interested. I can send you a recipe and everything. By the way, guys, this is a quick thing I wanted to just shout out because it is a cool thing I'm trying to build up. I have been making a Discord for this sort of idea, this creative premise. So if you're into food a lot and you want to talk and wax crazy about food and just go on and on talking about the processes you took and discussing, that's what I'm trying to sort of make, just a tight-knit thing. I invited like a dozen friends, but they're all very taciturn so far. There's not a lot of discussion going on, but I've been trying to pump in content every day, so we'll see. You got it, Snaps. I will send you the recipe. It's a hybrid, so you've been warned. I hybridized a recipe from the New York Times with the Redhead Baker. I don't know who the Redhead Baker is, but shouts out, you helped play a role in me formulating this. Alright, enough little spring rolls. What have you been up to today, Saucy? I know you're always doing a lot of stuff. It's really cool, actually, having met you. Good for you playing Night in the Woods. I don't know if I would have found you as soon without that. Yeah, funny story. One day I was just doing my stream and Saucy was playing Night in the Woods. And I just was like, guys, we're gonna raid. I want to see who's playing Night in the Woods. I was just gonna pick the first one, but the first person was on Be Right Back. And I was like, oh, nope. And then I'm like, oh, this looks cool. I don't think this person is like rude or mean. She looks nice. I just sent my friends over there. Agreed. Night in the Woods is an amazing game. Straight up, immediate agree. I'm like, Subway takes 100% agree. Because, I mean, it's been out for a while now, but right when it came out, I was a good bit younger. I want to say like 21 or something. And that whole premise hit a lot harder. Even though I'm not from a small town, so I was able to appreciate but not understand fully the small town America part of the story, but like all of the college stuff and the being like a misfit and all this different stuff and having friends who were really privileged and squandered it, and like every character had something for me to really love them for. Like, oh, I get you so much, bro. Very cool. Love that game so much. I would say I love Night in the Woods 4 or 5 times as much as I love Brand New Animal. And I just was in a merch getting mood, which is really rare for me right after watching Brand New Animal. It's the only reason that I have no Night in the Woods merch, but actually have like figurines and a poster for BNA. Oh man. Okay, guys. Cookies or pie? What sounds right? Cookies, coffee cookies, or cranberry curd pie? Let's make it about the C, right? So coffee cookies, cranberry curd pie. pardon me, which one sounds more appropriate to tackle first? Because I'm still feeling like crazy indecisive. I will make up my mind, but if you guys have any suggestion. I might break into a bit more of that cheese. It's actually really good. I promise we will actually cover the desserts. I just really like this cheese so far. Check that out. I believe it's stainless steel. And then I believe they anodize it with like gold or something. So that's a big part of the reason why this special cheese is able to basically sit in a fridge for 1 million years. 50 years. I believe that's what they promised. They're like, we can confidently promise like 50 years or something like that. Or maybe I'm misremembering. Maybe they never said that. But it does on the packaging say that hypothetically Cougar Gold cheese from the Washington State University Creamery, not making any of that up, should have like theoretically no expiration date because it will just age in the can. Again, shouts out to the Discord people for voting for me to try this. I'm really pleased, and that's what I'm gonna just ask for Christmas every day. I'm gonna grow my prepper cheese, my cheese stockpile. Friends, I have to recommend that you get Czech beer. If the beer is from Czechia or the Czech Republic, just at least give it a try. They are the masters of consuming as well as producing beer, and I feel very confident in saying that. I believe Czechia consumes more than twice as much beer as like the number 2 beer consuming country. That might be a little exaggerated, but it's a lot. They really like beer, and this beer is from Czechia, and it is so good. Like, I'm not a diehard beer person, but this is really delightful. It's like somewhere between like a very mild cola and a very smooth drinking coffee. And then, yeah, if you hyper fixate on it, you can tell that there is alcohol in there, but it is otherwise really smooth and really delightful. Yeah, all right. Kozel Černý, as it is called. I will revisit the cheddar. I'm being very scatterbrained right now, and I thank you all for always bearing with me. It's a chaotic little thing what we have going on here, as it should be. A lot of good creativity can have chaos as a catalyst. Get my little freaking gold lid there. Put it back on the cheese. Okay. I've decided cranberry curd pie. Some people serve this more as a tart. I think that we went full blown with the pie aspect of things. So to me, it's a cranberry curd pie. This is just not a tart in any real respect of the word. How do you guys cut your pie? I often, if it's just for me, I would just start from the center like a little goblin, because I don't trust myself to bisect the pie perfectly. I can at least kind of pinpoint where the center is, and then you get that, and then you just drag nicely. In the case of a filling like this with no top crust, angle gently, bring it all the way back, and then again reaffirm where the heck the center is, because you may have done an oopsie like me. Do the same thing, bring it back, And finally, we've got a slice of, let's see how I did. See how did you do on the whole custard filling? Ooh, okay. So there it is. There is the cranberry curd pie. That custard set freakishly well. Freakishly well. Oh my goodness. I'm very, like, I don't normally get, like, all, like, emotionally proud of myself with food, but that's not what I expected. I expected a bit of runny. Okay. This is where I recognize that I did not bring a proper plate. So we'll just eat it right here. Okay. This is so much less sour and less tart than my last cranberry pie. This is actually a lot more velvety and buttery with that cranberry as the main note, but it's like singing in a normal. It's not like a fortissimo, you know, blasting your face off. Okay. I'm really happy with that. I plaster kudos. Oh my god. I plaster my face on the pie and eat it like I'm digging myself out of a tunnel. Kind of like a quick time event. Okay, chat. Don't judge him too hard. There are a lot of things in eating. If you eat with too much, no, if you eat with a lot of passion and fervor, there's a lot of things in the world of consuming food that is akin to a quick time event. This is real, and you just have to, like, you just, no mames, don't mess up. You gotta do it right. Gosh. I've had a very judgmental stint in my past of judging people when they praise their own food. I was very big on that. When I was a kid, I was like, shut up. Don't freaking toot your own horn, right? But I'm really happy with this. I'm definitely sharing the recipe with any friends that are interested. Heck yeah. Because you see, to me, if you balance the flavors well at Thanksgiving, if you balance them well, a cranberry sauce is not quite, it's just, you either have to water down the cranberry or it does too much for food. Icky. Oh my gosh, I'm so glad you were able to drop in. Well, thank you for coming. Right now I'm trying this cranberry curd pie. It's a pie I made at home. Only 3 dishes here were really made at home. And I'm really proud of how the custard's set, actually. I mean, check that out. It can just, like, stand on its own. How are you doing, Icky? You guys notice how I ate every other piece of food in a reasonable cadence, and we got to the pie, and it was just like, boom, gone. It's gone. So, funny story. I'm glad to hear you're doing well. Icky, that's great. Busybody. Busybodies need a chance to do well, too. In between all the fun. Because the fun is also a type of busy. I actually have 2 cranberry vines, like, tattooed on my arm. I have this big botanical sleeve. You know, blueberry, star anise, sunflower, like an American giant sunflower, cranberry, clovers, like shamrocks. I've just never wanted to, like, flash my arm on the chat, but I do love cranberry. It was a slow developing relationship, though. As a kid, I was just not into the cran. Right after cranberry pie, have a piece of cheese. And it balances out so nice. Gonna steal one more cuttlefish ball. God, that is insane. You think Twitch is not showing some channels that you're following? Well, that's a bummer. That would just, I mean, that would kind of check out though. I feel as though every platform, like every major platform that's like a thing, well, maybe you couldn't find me on your offline list because maybe it was because I was already online? Do you think? I mean, I could be wrong, though. Okay, a lot of ruckus, huh? A lot of ruckus. Why? Because I'm pulling this out. This is Cassis, or Cassis, perhaps? It is Belgian, so maybe it is Cassis. Cassis. This is a black currant Lambic beer. So, oh wow, dang, that's crazy, Icky. I wonder why. I gotta pay someone off over at Amazon to be allowed to be perceived. So Lindeman's has been in business over 200 years, and they make like lambic drinks. Lambic roughly refers to there being a like a like a lactic acid bacteria somewhere in the story of producing that drink. So it creates a natural sour flavor that to me is quite delicious. And I think somewhat importantly, I want to mention this because a lot of people may shy away from it, may just be kind of a vibe killer, but like I think it's important to note lambic drinks are actually really nice if you just want like the gentlest, lightest buzz, or to feel as though you're participating in adult drinks, but you don't want to get incredibly buzzed, because these lambics tend to not have more than 3% alcohol by volume. And I think that that's cool because I can enjoy this bottle, and it's akin to having like an ultra light beer or something like that, despite being over twice the size. I mean, that's kind of cool to me. You know, a really good precursor to being able to drink the thing, however, is being able to ever open it. And, you know, if you can't ever open it because there's a cap as well as a cork, well, then you gotta learn where you can get yourself a wine key. I'm really glad I brought this, chat. I wasn't actually sure if this one doubled down like a lot of the bottles do. So this one doubles down, and we have not only a crimp cap, like the standard beer bottle cap, but we have a cork as well. It's a pretty loose-fitted cork, though. Like, in terms of... Oh, okay. Eat your words. Immediately eat your words. I ripped half of the cork off. We're going to have to go in and be really careful. Yeah, thank you for letting me know, Icky. It's interesting, because I would understand if I was, like, controversial or, like, doing some really, like, sketchy stuff, that they would, like, make it so that I always appear offline. But the fact that I'm just out here doing my Meowkbang, and then I basically got shadow banned, it's pretty crazy. Maybe it just needed more time to delay or to update. I don't know. Cookies, cached data. Who can say for sure? All right, here we go. This is Lindeman's Cassis black currant lambic. Let's get a good look at that. Look at that color. There are so many red things in the spread today, chat. Very red, very like deep sanguinous types of color. And I wouldn't have it any other way. I do actually love the color of most of what we've got here. It's a really beautiful palette. Oh yeah, Icky, don't bother. I was being playful. There it goes again, this sweet flavor. Cougar Gold. I mean, I'm not complaining, but Cougar Gold, despite being a sharp cheddar, has this pointedly sweet flavor. Perhaps I'm having it a little too young. Maybe a year or two down the road it would age and we would get more of that sharp flavor, but right as you eat it, it's like a little sweet flavor, a little sweet cheddar. That's a great point. Oh my god, Gooders, you're right. C for crimson? Great thinking. That never crossed my mind. I would have loved to make like some sort of joke about that had I thought. But okay. Cassis black currant lambic beer. Oh man. The fragrance is immediately like it's like some Eastern European, like really nice, sharp, fruity sodas that I've had in the past. And as with everything Lindeman's makes, if I'm pronouncing it wrong, I'm sorry. As with everything they make, like, yeah, there is enough alcohol to warrant you needing an ID to buy it, but it is so light. It is such a gentle amount, like and it is a very weak drink in terms of things, but the flavor is really delightful. Like if you're a super duper lightweight but you would like to have a full-sized drink to go with like maybe a big meal or like a big walk through a festival or something, this is great. Like a tart flavor akin to the mildest, gentlest hint of kombucha. A grapey, a dark grape type of flavor, not as pungent as Concord, more gentle. Yeah, nothing like a grape soda, nothing like an artificial grape flavor, but akin to like a purpley grape juice, but definitely more complex. With a little, like a pinch of bitterness on the center. Yeah, this is really fun. If you wanted me to be a sommelier, you would just need to give me stuff like that all day, every day. And I would eventually just never shut up. Everyone would hate me. Really fun. Lindeman's Cassis. By the way, I think the only streamer that's in here right now is Saucy. So I wanted to do a quick verbal shout out because I'm very bad at Twitch commands. So check out Saucy Sorceress. She's really cool. She does, like I said, variety gaming content. She does stuff with like tarot cards and lots of cute stuff, like really cute witchy stuff, like crystals. And she even like writes poems and stuff. It's actually a real joy getting to check her out. So if you're ever interested in all of that type of content, yeah, definitely check out Saucy. Cool friendo. And thanks again for dropping in. All right. So, I think a few more bites of congee just to have some actual real food on the palate. But then I would really like to try some of our coffee stuff. Yeah, we've got some coffee stuff. Icky, how do I set that up? Is there a way I set that up? Yeah, I was gonna say, whether you know or not, actually just chill. That's on me to figure that out. Enjoy the show, hang out. I would like to do that though. Like set it up so I can do like the exclamation point SO for shouts out if you ever get rated. That is like the coolest thing. Cuz I can tell you right now, having that not set up but being a very appreciative kitty, I would just immediately like pause the game, scramble over and just be like, "Hey everyone, here's their Twitch, here's their Discord. I want you to know I'm shouting them out right now." Okay. So, that's the Discord link. According to the Discord link I have, and it's just that string of letters and numbers. Like if you click it, it doesn't take you to an actual Discord. Oh no. All right, we're gonna get the icky explanation here. I see. Okay. So my Discord link has like an excess of crap in it. Interesting. If clicked, I wonder where it takes people, or if it just errors out. Honestly, you're explaining it better than I had it explained to me, because I had it not explained to me at all. So no worries. No worries for a sec. So here we go. Couque das. So, as I was saying earlier, this Couque das cookie appears to be a Korean brand, sort of using a Belgianism, if you will, like a Belgian term for a cookie. I'm a bit peeved. I'm a bit peeved that there's this much packaging. I mean, you learn things when you try a new product. You learn things about it, but I'm not terribly pleased about there being such a wealth of packaging material all over the cookie. I just cause yeah, if I'm supposed to be having these with my coffee, do you think I want to do all of this at my coffee event? I guess if you just want to grab one singular one and go, that's fine. I'm like struggling to not break the cookie. Yeah, look. Okay, that's fine. So, this is the Couque das cookie. Or maybe it's Dasse. Okay. Let me see if I can kind of show you. Yeah. So we've got a thin layer of like a coffee butter in the middle of the cookie. It is crunchy. The link has expired. Shouts out, everybody. I put a link to my Discord on the Twitch, and it is already expired. That's a real yummers. I did a great thing there. To sort of mend that, I'm gonna go ahead and actually put a real link to the Discord on the Twitch channel. I think I might just do it now. It wouldn't kill me. So we go to our Discord. Meowkbang Palace. Invite people. Edit invite link. No maximum number of uses. Never expire. Holy crap. What the hell is wrong with you, Faye? Okay. Generate new link. Copy. I believe that that'll work. A yummers moment. Truly, we are enraptured in a non-stop spree of yummers moments on this channel. So, with Couque, this coffee cookie, one for the ages, truly one for the ages, I have a little thought, a little idea here. And I've been thinking this for a couple days, so I'm not going to pretend that it's on the spot idea. I actually would love to have a little cold brew coffee with our lovely cookie here. I mean, cold brew coffee, right? So let's go ahead and grab this little guy. So cold brew coffee, right? Do you guys ever make it for yourself at home? Cold brew kind of takes a little while. It's definitely the opposite of a convenience coffee. Rah, joined now. I'm so glad you joined, Icky. Thank you so much for coming over to my extremely cooking and food-centric Discord. I gotta get that link fixed. Frick. Yeah, cold brew coffee, kind of wild of me to be having some at 4 p.m., but also kind of not. I work until 11 p.m. every day that I do work, and having coffee now is very close to like the cutoff, but I would say cut me off at like 5:30, because right now is fine. Well, thank you. I'm glad you'll join and hang out. Truth be told, I've been trying to talk cooking and talk food with my friends that are in the server, but they're just a bit on the quiet side, so it kind of feels like a psychotic person with like, I mean, like with literally with psychosis, just like talking to like an imagined audience of people. But that's okay. Lurking is not a crime. And I'm really thankful to have friends that have enough interest in my passions and my creative energy to want to hang out and even just listen. Like, isn't that beautiful? I'd say that's really gorgeous, actually. Really gorgeous friends. I got some beautiful, beautiful friends. Alright, cold brew coffee. No surprises here, but yeah, let's go. See how Kirkland signature cold brew coffee made at home with Kirkland signature. Yeah, you know the bit. As always with cold brew coffee, it is worryingly smooth. Like, much like when you have an alcoholic drink and it is frighteningly smooth, and then you hear that it's like 11% alcohol and you're like, oh, cool, put it away. Just just put it away. Like, I don't need that. Much in that same way, having a coffee that is so smooth that you know you could just drink like 5 cups of it and assume you were drinking like a mildly essenced water. It's kind of wild. Oh my gosh, Noelle, I'm so glad you were able to make it. Hello, Yapper Kitty. Honestly, I am the Yapper Kitty right now. I have been just going on about food. As you could probably guess, I'm very into these coffee cookies. So I'm gonna have a few more. Go ahead and get that situated right there. We don't really need the Cockburn's port. We don't exactly need the Kozel. Finish off Lindeman's. It's just nice to kind of clear the place up as things get used up. So we got Lindeman's, Blackcurrant, Lambic. Lambics are really nice. I would say more people should add them to their little rotation of things to try out. If you go somewhere and they say, oh, we got this Lambic, yeah, try that out. Again, too much packaging. This Couque cookie, I'm enjoying it. I already bought it, so I'm kind of bought in already. I can't just not eat them or something. Return. I'm returning this cookie that I got from the market. It's too much packaging. Too much packaging. It's against my ethics. There's no surprises here. Cold brew coffee, very tasty. A coffee cookie, quite enjoyable. A coffee cookie dipped in coffee. I mean, delightful. Heck yeah. Oh, you see my little BNA poster? At some point, I might put up a shelf and put my little BNA figurines on the wall. But for now, yeah, I got that right after season 1 finished airing, and I loved it so much. I went and sought out, hunted down all of the freaking licensed merch. And of course, a lot of it I didn't like, but I found that to be really endearing, really charming. And the style is really nice too. It reminds me of why I liked the opening so much. So chat, we got this century egg here. Remember, it is a duck egg century egg because chicken eggs were really hard to find. I'm sorry. I know it's mukbang C, but this is how I crack a hard-boiled egg, and I really hope that it won't be too much for the mic. It looks like the mic attuned to my BS already. Yeah, take the blunt side of the spoon and go one side, one pole, if you will, down to the other. Rotate by 25 degrees. Repeat. And you can keep going like that for quite a while. So why is it called a century egg? So traditionally, like a lot of different preserved foods in East Asia, these eggs are preserved by keeping them underground. Now, as for the duration of the preservation and the fermenting and developing process, it's not a century, but traditionally would have been 100 days. And 100 days became it became found to be a little unnecessary to achieve this crazy cool end result here. Look at that. Coffee brown, dark, strong coffee. And 100 days came to be found to not really be necessary, and it's instead usually done for several weeks. And the process is really interesting. It renders a very subtle fragrance, and I do strongly recommend you keep these in the fridge. But when it's warm, you can actually start to smell the fragrance a little bit more, and the fragrance is akin to salmiak. Salmiak being a type of candies. vaguely speaking, and I'm talking vaguely, like don't run and hide from this ingredient. It isn't evil. It didn't do anything wrong. But very vaguely speaking, it is almost an ammoniac type of fragrance. If you like get your nose point blank to the century egg and sniff like you're trying to gasp air into your lungs, you start to get this like salmiac sort of fragrance. From a more distant sort of sniff, you're just like, oh, it just smells kind of like an egg. It just smells like an egg. Interestingly enough, once you get it sort of mixed into a food like we did with this congee here, that salmiac type of ammoniac type of fragrance becomes pretty second fiddle to everything else, to the point where I would just say, oh no, it's just pleasant. It's just a pleasant little egg, just adding its pleasant little bits and bobs to our meal. It is very savory, like intensely savory. Let's save that spoon for later. We might need it. So we were having it stirred into our congee here, and it was impossible to notice that there was anything amiss. I was just like, oh, it's a very savory, chunky, savory porridge, rice porridge, right? I just had a piece of the century egg in that bite. Like literally nothing to say about it that's out of place. It's just a good, harmonious type of assortment of fragrances and flavors. Now I'm going to do something that some people would say is questionable, which is to take a bite of the century egg. Plain Jane century egg. Give it a go. So this is a wedge up. Okay, let's be a little bit more careful. This is a wedge of the century egg. Right there. Like a very strong eggy smell right off the bat. Aw, heck yeah, no worries. Lurking is welcome here, Saucy. I was just giving you a shout out earlier, telling them about all your awesome little things that you got going on your channel. Alright. Straight up bite of a plain, unadulterated century egg. A duck version. Okay. A bit much. Not bad. Definitely didn't even make me think about, like, I didn't even stop to consider spitting it out. I didn't stop to consider gagging or anything. But just a bit much all on its own. You can tell with certain ingredients when, like, their place to shine is, like, being a wonderful component of something a little bit bigger. And I think that that's very true with century eggs. So I'm really digging them in the congee. Century eggs in congee is a tier C item, if you will. So let's get that big old wedge right there and just kind of mix in one spoonful of congee, a little bit of cilantro, some scallion, and some of the, like, meatball that I created earlier. Heck yeah, Icky. 20 past midnight is a great time to head to bed. Thank you so much for dropping in. I'm really glad you're able to make it and just kind of see what it's all about. And of course, your conversation, love it. Good night. All right. So let's see. I do have to save a good little serving of the Cuttlefish balls for my girlfriend, but she also has a really small appetite, so let's get a few more of these. So I will say, like, I was singing it praises, talking about the savory and fragrant flavor, all of the lovely little bits about the cuttlefish balls. But one thing I will say, and I know this is a big deal for some people, the cuttlefish balls are, they're ever so slightly they're quite chewy. And it's because when you make like sausages or meatballs out of any meat virtually, you can take the base and you can actually stir it and process it very thoroughly. And it works up a protein that is present in a lot of meat. And the protein is called myosin. And I believe that this is true not just for like pork, chicken, beef, but I'm pretty sure it's true for seafood too. Myosin can form these long networks, these long chains. And biologically speaking, whenever something forms like this long chain like that, it tends to be bouncy. Now, I don't mind because I know there's nothing wrong with it, and I got over a lot of texture stuff a very long time ago in my life, but these cuttlefish balls have some bounce to them. They have like this snappy chew to them. And I could imagine my past self like being icked out by it, being like, no, we're not doing this. So be warned if you do end up checking out the Dragonfly brand cuttlefish balls. The flavor is delightful. They go really well with, I can tell they'll go well with a lot of different types of sauces, but you know, I don't want you to step in fully blind. That's my job. Well, have we gone ahead and not tried anything just yet? Has everything been sampled? No. The answer is no. Not everything has been sampled. I've got one other, and why not bust it out? Bust it out, check it out with y'all. First, I would like to go ahead and finish off this cold brew coffee. Cold brew coffee is lovely, and it's going to keep me going to where I can clean up after all of this, and then I can actually have a day, whatever my day looks like after I sign off. But yeah, let's finish out the cold brew coffee, because I got something a bit more interesting that I want to check out with you guys. For my coffee drinkers in the chat, there we go. For my coffee drinkers in the chat, have you ever made your own cold brew? It's really easy. Oh my gosh, hey Zero. Welcome in. Welcome in. And yeah, so these are a type of meatball. I was just talking about them too. These are indeed a type of meatball. They are a Dragonfly brand cuttlefish ball, and it comes completely plain. So you would be the sole proprietor of your own fun little glaze or sauce. Heading out? Heck yeah. Thanks so much for coming, Kudos. If you wanted to see my very last item before you leave for the night, it's this right here. Mr. Brown's cold canned cappuccino. All right. Love you much, and I hope that you have a great evening. So cuttlefish is not poisonous It may have a venomous bite, but it's not poisonous at all. In fact, it's very common and very popular to give it a munch. I would actually mention that when I was younger, I met a sushi chef in training, like the most prominent line cook in his restaurant. And he told me, oh, when you go to a sushi restaurant, depending on where you're at in the world, and you have ika, or squid, it's not always squid. A lot of times squid is in too high of demand, too low of supply. It's actually cheaper for us to supply cuttlefish because it takes an extremely seasoned palate to be able to tell the difference. So now cuttlefish is actually a really popular thing to eat. It's sad actually because they're such a cool animal to a degree. It's like that's the sad part, but I think all the animals we eat are kind of cool. So just mutually appreciating them is plenty. So yeah, let's get a quick look at that, right? I'm gonna tell Zero about my glaze for the cuttlefish balls in just a sec because it was kind of fun to make that. So Mr. Brown's cappuccino iced coffee, a ready-to-drink cold bev. The reason I did this is because there's something special in my heart going back to my childhood about canned coffee. When I was younger, iced coffee wasn't hard to find exactly, but it had varying degrees of convenience and flavor to it. And there was just something so cool about cracking open, in this case, a literal steel can, to get your ready-to-drink, like seasoned, pre-flavored cold coffee. Well, yeah, definitely. Pufferfish is 100%. That's called fugu in Japanese, and there's actually a fugu licensing firm that provides fugu licenses to sashimi or sushi chefs to be allowed to prepare fugu, legally. And it's kind of interesting, the tetrodotoxin or whatever it's called that's in fugu. Well, for one thing, it will totally paralyze and probably kill you if you eat any reasonable amount of it. But in ultra minute doses, it is present in the flesh. And so thinking back to like a time like the 70s or 80s where fewer chemical sensation ingredients were available, that tingly, fun, like numbing, tingling sensation when you eat fugu was like beloved by people. It was so cool, it was so unique, and it was completely safe because the meat alone contains such ultra minute amounts of it. It's just when certain organs that produce the toxin are pierced and you don't notice it and it poisons the meat, that's when it can 100% kill like everyone in the room, unfortunately. Yeah, really neat fugu. Really interesting historical stuff there. The only reason I say this with so much confidence is I used to actually study Japanese language and more lightly culture because I was going to be an English teacher to Japanese students overseas, but I eventually opted out, for at least for the time, from doing that, from fully pursuing it. But during those years I learned so much. Talk about cultural psychosis. So the cuttlefish balls come completely bald. They come with no flavor on them. Like maybe a very light amount of like salt and like little minuscule seasonings inside the actual cuttlefish meatballs, but they come totally bald. So I marinated them in a mix of soy, mirin, the like sweetened cooking wine, and grated raw garlic. And I marinated them in that for like almost 24 hours after thawing them. Took them out today, air fried them until they were nice and like a good solid brown. And after doing that, I brought them out and put them in this glaze made out of the same, soy sauce, mirin, garlic, but then with a nice little addition of butter. I used like the YouTuber butter because I got it for the bee Meowkbang. So I had some of the YouTuber butter and we made the glaze with that and tossed the cuttlefish meatballs in there, and the flavor is phenomenal. Finished it with scallions, and there's not too much more that I would want. you know, there's some things I'd experiment with, but I'm really happy with that. Oh man. Okay. So, homemade cold brew coffee, super fresh, is delightful. I mean, it's hard to, if you like coffee, it's hard to complain. But this is really good. This is made with like some really nice, probably like with Robusta, like the more common in Vietnam type of coffee bean. And you can kind of tell it has this sort of this flavor akin to like an almost like an alcohol type flavor, because it's super pungent, and then it's just there for a second, it's gone, and it evaporates away to this like nice gentle aroma. Then, not to mention, you know, milk and sugar. Of course, I like the milk and sugar. Oh heck yeah, yeah! Get yourself a little jolt. Get yourself a little caffeine break, right? Always good. So I'm gonna cut the rest of my century egg up here, because I knew I was doing something a little faux pas by trying it completely plain on its own. It is generally agreed that they shine best as like a component where it can allow things to be greater than the sum of their parts. So like in this congee, it's really lovely, but just completely plain, it's okay. The flaws of the ingredients start to become increasingly present, and you start to be like, why did I eat that just now? But when you put it in a bowl of congee like this, mix it in and allow the flavors to marry, so to speak, that is just delightful. So our congee here has rice, cilantro, century eggs now, of course, a homemade meatball made from pork, and gochugaru. I know it doesn't start with the C, but oh well. And then a little bit of dashi stock. There's a dashi stock powder that I swear by. I was just talking about it in the Discord because I like it so much. And it's really good. All in all, a great blend of flavors. And one of my friends, Icky, he just pointed out that the Discord link in the Twitch page is freaking kaput. It's broken because I'm not terribly clever. So I decided to pin that little message right there real quick. That has my Discord in it. Chat, I'm not gonna lie. I don't want you to think I'm like an actual munchkin. But like, despite how fun everything here is, and like how cool all these little assortments are, and like the cookies, and the savory food, like I already really want another piece of the cranberry pie. I'm really into the cranberry pie. It was very fun to make too, just for what it's worth, and I think that it actually is worth a lot. It's kind of like one of those fun things to make, because at the end of the day, it is not actually a horribly difficult recipe, but it feels like it when you're making it. When you're making it, you feel like, oh, there's so many things I could mess up. I could mess up the curd. It could like scramble on me. Oh, I could mess up setting it correctly. I could mess up sieving the cranberries correctly, but it's actually really easy. It's not that easy to mess it up. So, you almost for sure get like this really lovely pie, and you get to think back and you're like, man, I'm so cool. I'm so cool. I did that. Thank you. It's really lovely. I love foods with like a natural, like naturally super red color. Even like a super pink is cool too. Now, I'm not gonna pretend or anything. I went through a couple semesters of culinary education. I 100% can make my own pie crust, but I feel no inclination to lie to you guys. Like, this is a straight up store-bought pie crust. Like, absolutely. It's even still in, like, the foil that came with the pre-made, like, frozen pie crust. Heck yeah. No worries. Lurking is, like, totally welcome. I'll just be here yapping a bit. I hope you and your kiddo have a nice little dinner. That sounds really cute. Only thing is that being that it is cranberry, it's really like it's a really tart pie. So if you just mow through a piece of it, you feel your mouth like puckered up, which is actually really pleasant, but it also kind of like tells you to back off naturally. Well, you know, it is Tuesday 0, so it could be a Taco Tuesday. There's no harm in that. Coffee, and then we still have some Černý. That's, again, that is a lovely beer. Just any Czech beer, check it out. I'm so sorry. Heck yeah, exclamation point lurk. I don't have anything set up, so don't feel bad. I need to look into that, maybe. Or maybe not. Maybe it would be really funny to go for like a full year and a half and people are like, exclamation point? Discord, and it just doesn't give you anything. That'd be so freaking funny. Oh man. What was I thinking? Cranberry pie into a black currant beer. For anyone who's had like black currant, or even definitely red currant, but even black currant, when it's fresh, you know it's like really like tart, like boom, right in your mouth, right? Like a sort of, like it's verging on being bitter and tart at the same time, but it's mostly just really tart. All right. Well, friends, we have sampled everything here. There is nothing that hasn't been tasted or toyed around with, tried at this point. That's really cool. That is my list of seafoods. I want to thank, I know I did already a couple times, but I want to thank my friends over on the Discord for voting to bring the Cougar Gold cheese from Washington State. That's really freaking cool. Cougar Gold cheese made right in Washington at a college. I don't know, that's just really, really awesome. And then I also want to thank my friend Wolfie again for asking for Congee all the way back on like the first one of these I did like a month ago, or 3 weeks ago. I just think that's cool because that's not like way far down the list, and it's not like the very next one. So good timing, and just cool that you're interested. Yeah, it's really fun to do this with friends. It's kind of nice, like, so occasionally I joke that, like, oh, the only reason I'm doing all this is because I can't have a dinner party with my friends for real. you know, and all my IRL friends don't want to do this. And that's not really true. I think I could actually, like, hound some of my IRL friends into doing a cute dinner party. I don't even think there's a question to it. But it is really nice that as soon as, you know, the eating is done and we're thinking about how to clean this up, how to package these leftovers and all that cool stuff that you just got to do because you're grown up. It's really nice to just like be able to do whatever I want. Like if I need like total personal space, but I do want to deal with the chores, there is a lot of fun behind that. And the funnest part to me of dinner parties is like the chit-chatting while eating. So maybe it's a personal thing, but I'm really into it. So I gotta say, the Cougar Gold, as it has warmed up and come to temperature more, it actually has like this ever so slight but noticeable like crystalline texture. And it's a texture that you actually get in a lot of cheeses when they become very sharp, when they've aged for a long time. And as Cougar Gold warms up more, and I think the more the less crystalline parts of the cheese become softer with the increase in temperature. The crystalline part doesn't, and it becomes more contrasting to the firmness of the main cheese. It's really neat. So it is now starting to taste more sharp now that it is not exceptionally cold. Could be placebo, could just be where I'm at in the meal. But that's fun. Also, just hands down fun to have like a big cylindrical can. Let me see if I can just pull that out one more time for anybody who didn't see it earlier. Okay, yeah. To just have a big old cylindrical can and it's just end to end, just full of cheddar cheese. And again, really nice cheddar cheese too. Ta-da! The only shame is, I don't know, it kind of almost feels like if you were to get like the 20-year emergency food supply bucket and then do an unboxing of it the very next day and eat it with your friends and talk about it, it would just be, it just feels a little sad in a way. And so I do feel mixed feelings about busting open a can of Cougar Gold just to try it, just for our, you know, our fun little event here. Because for what it's worth, the Cougar Gold hypothetically can last some insane untold amount of time in the fridge. I think that's really neat. I don't even know I don't know what they prioritize more, if there is an answer to that. Whether it's like the quality of the cheese or the quality of the process of canning it, like the sterile canning. Another little coffee cookie. These are really cute. It is a Korean take on a Dutch, pardon me, not Dutch, on a Belgian pastry. And it's good. I mean, as you could guess, having coffee butter inside of it, it pairs really nice with coffee. Okay, last of my canned cappuccino. So for anyone who's hanging out or anyone who's dropping in, I mean, I'm always thinking about it. Believe me, I'm thinking about it probably more than it's okay to think about food. But what are some good thoughts that you might have for a D Meowkbang? Obviously, my mind immediately goes to like it goes right to the exotic right away. So I pretty much immediately think about like durian and stuff like that. And I try to stick to like culinary terms. So in case you're going there, I wouldn't think of like deer. I would think more of like venison. And so therefore it would not be on a D like dog. It would be on like a V like venison. Okay, probably last cookie. I'm starting to feel cookied out. I do recommend it though. This like Couque Das cookie right here. Like really the only gripe I have with it, because the texture is so nice and like the snap and the fragrance, it's all good. I just wish they found a way to do it with less packaging. Like it feels kind of gross. Like I know that there's a bit of plastic in here for what it's worth. It's not just straight up foil. And then there's so much foil, and it's cool. Definitely never count out the privilege that you have getting to eat like fresh or like shelf stable food. That's like such an awesome part of being alive in the time that we are. Heck yeah. Funny thing, chat. Naturally, I actually vibe way more with the concept of having sweet and then going ahead and like following it up with savory and maybe like coming back around to have more sweet. And usually it's not like a crazy hopscotch back and forth. It's just like a little bit of sweet wakes my taste bud up. I don't know. Then like plenty of savory. Then I'm kind of getting bored of savory. And then like a sweet thing. And of course, like if I'm crazy hungry, it's like sweet, savory, sweet, savory, sweet, or something like that. But I really do like starting with the sweet. And it was something that like my parents thankfully learned about me. But I remember like my own grandmother would like call them if I had to stay with her. She would like call my parents and be so upset by the fact that that I wanted like dessert first, basically. I get it. Like the iconic finish all your vegetables or you don't get cake. You know, eat all of your green beans or no pie. That type of very iconic parent thing. But I mean, I would eat too. It's like, oh yeah, I understand you have, you know, chicken nuggets for me. But I want the Pop Tart first, or whatever. I can think back to it somewhat vividly. My mom reminds me about it all the time. Hmm. Gosh, that was a fun spread, guys. That was a really fun, just everything here. This whole mix of goodies, the savory, the sweet, the very sour. the very rich, the very new. I mean, like really, there's tons of love to century eggs. Actually, I can't believe that that's like a divisive food thing. I guess if it is only being experienced under the lens of like a dare, I get it. If it's like the type of thing where you never have had it, and then you get egged on, pun intended, pun very much intended, you get egged on to try it completely plain Jane with none of the usual accompaniment. And let's say it's not even a great quality one. All of those things together, I can understand how it becomes like this shock food, this sort of bit and this sort of joke. But no, put some respect on century eggs, guys. That's really lovely. If you have like a savory porridge, like this rice porridge that we made today, and you want like a really lovely, super savory, fragrant, and yummy accompaniment to all the other good elements of the dish, then definitely check it out. All you have to do is like Google like congee or rice porridge with century eggs, and you'll probably find like a dozen different very positively received recipes of just that. So really cool. And shoot, I think that this is all I care to eat right now. I'm really excited to share this lovely pie with a bunch of my friends and loved ones and so on. I'm excited for my girlfriend to get to try the Cuttlefish balls because she's been excited about them since I was making the sauce. She's really into that, really curious. I can't wait to share. Not to mention the congee. I think she'll like that too. I made it for her once when she was not feeling too good, like many years ago, and she really liked it then too. So yeah, no complaints here. This is a great day. This is a great day, and I'm so glad that everyone was able to come on out and make it. By the way, shouts out to my friend Zomdog Zam. You can see them in recommended channels on my channel. Zomdog Zam, or just Zam, actually was the one who suggested I try this new camera angle, and I do think it actually is really solid. Like, it's a really good setup because you're just getting the food, me, a tiny bit of the back decor, but it doesn't slice it all off or make it like clipped. It's pretty good. Whereas before, I feel like we were getting like my entire room, and the freaking Meowkbang was like this little dimple in the middle of it all. And I'm very baby, okay? I don't I will not pretend that I know every aspect of setting up the stream great, but you guys are awesome company, and I'm really glad for everyone who's able to make it in and hang out. Let me go ahead and take a quick look at my little stream manager thingy poo here. I wanted to see if we could raid out. Probably got a friend who's online right now. So thank you again, everybody. Like, thank you so much for coming and joining me. If you have any questions, you can always hit me up. I'm going to fix the Discord link. Once again, I'm going to fix that Discord link on the Twitch channel. It would be awesome if you could come on by and just listen to me talk about the cooking process. It's really like one of my biggest joys in my creative life. So yeah, much love, and I hope to see you all again soon. Thank you for joining me. Lovely to have you as my dinner guests. Let's go ahead and absolutely inundate my friend Snowy. My friend Snowy is streaming a little something weird right now. I'm curious. Yeah, let's go ahead and drop in. Thank you again, guys. So we're gonna get that going. Do a little start raid button. And do a little refresh over here. And of course, be nice. Can't imagine having to tell all of these lovely friends who dropped in to be nice, but I know y'all will. Really great company. Thanks again for chatting and being part of my C Meowkbang. Join me again next week for D.